I said last night, while I believe Kamala would also bomb Iran, this isn't about winning an argument. It's not about moral superiority. I don't know. Well, because I see a lot of people posting on the timeline like, oh, y'all gonna learn today. You should have voted for Kamala Harris. Like she would have never done this. And that's not even true, because Kamala Harris would have absolutely done this as well. Foreign policy is uniparty, but I don't care because Kamala Harris isn't the president right now. Also, if you want to know what Kamala Harris would do in this process, she's alive. She has access to Twitter. She could just say that this is unacceptable if she thought that it was unacceptable. Why has she said nothing? In any case, that doesn't matter because Trump is the president. So if you actually are anti-war, I said I welcome every liberal or Republican who joins anti-war protests with open arms. Every dollar spent on weapons to kill children overseas should be spent on our children's education, food, healthcare, and housing. And this person goes, yes, the candidate from the party that championed the JCPOA to end Iran's nuclear program and campaigned on bringing it back would have bombed Iran too. Leftists have actually become so dense as concrete, they can't stand it anymore. Dog, I don't know if you know this, but the vice president at the time when the JCPOA was implemented became the president. Did you know that? Joe Biden, who was vice president when Barack Obama did the JCPOA, which I always give Barack Obama props for, by the way, one of the few things that he did in terms of foreign policy that was actually good, okay? He didn't bring it back. And there's a reason why Brett McGurk, who was the chief architect of Barack Obama's Middle East policy and one of the most consequential decision makers, has been glazing Trump up and down every day at CNN. It's because they set the stage for this to happen. The idea that this was going to, the idea that like if Democrats were in charge, they would have never actually listened to Israel and struck Iran or allowed Israel to strike Iran is so stupid when every Democrat that was working in the Biden administration is saying this was a good idea. And all of the establishment Democrats are basically only complaining that they were not informed on this, even though they keep saying that the reason for attacking Iran is actually just. These guys are just trying to do propaganda for a party that is actively communicating the opposite thing that they believe should be the case. I don't understand it. I don't know where this comes from. Like, I think this is a silly way to approach the subject because I think you're like a little embarrassed. You want the Democrats to be better, and I understand that, right? What we need to do is ensure that Iran never achieves its ability to be a nuclear power. Not only did she refuse to suggest the use of any military action, but she reiterated many times that she bring back the JCPOA as the primary strategy to stop Iran from getting nukes. It doesn't matter because Biden didn't do that. And Biden, as a matter of fact, set the stage for Israel to be able to strike Iran. I don't understand why these guys are operating on this like assertion that is just designed not around what the Democrats are saying, not around what the Democrats have done, not around what the Democrats choose not to say in this moment, but instead on some kind of like fantasy that the Democrats are actually anti-war. The problem that they don't understand is that the Democrats are not in power right now. I understand that. I get it. So if you're actually anti-war, if you're really anti-war, okay, demand that the Democrats put out better statements instead of trying to actively run defense for the Democrats at a time when there is unprecedented unpopularity towards war. They're not doing that. They're acting as though there is already an election happening right now in this very moment. And they're literally doing the same thing that they did with Kamala Harris. Instead of demanding that Kamala Harris actually communicate her policies during the election cycle that took place just now, they would just defend Kamala Harris's policies that she wasn't even advocating for. I don't understand why you would do that. Just don't you think it's a much more productive use of your time to tell your elected representatives that they should take a stronger anti-war position? Don't you feel like that would allow them to look good, even from a purely cynical, cold and calculated perspective? Here's what the Dem leader Hakeem Jeffries is doing right now. Asked if he supports the Ro Khanna War Powers Resolution, haven't taken a look at it. And, ContraPoints posted some stuff. If the Dems won, Libs would be at brunch right now, blah, 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 blah. I don't really care about the back and forth between like leftists being like Kamala Harris would be so much worse or Kamala Harris would be just as bad, unless you're making a point about how we have to demand more from our elected representatives on the Democratic Party side, okay? Unless that is your goal. Anyway, I said, I don't think it's far-fetched to listen to what Kamala has said on Iran or Israel and what she's chosen not to say post-election as the Dems' current leadership refuses to use the 85-5 issue of going to war with Iran to their advantage, even in a calculated, cynical, and partisan way. ContraPoint's response, she supported the JCPOA. There's no way she would have ordered a preemptive strike like this without congressional approval. She's far from perfect, obviously, but the assertion that she's no different from Trump on this is self-soothing leftist cope. There's no way she would have ordered a preemptive strike like this without congressional approval. Is it the congressional approval that's the problem? Or is it the preemptive strike on Iran the problem? The idea that the real issue here is that Kamala Harris would at least get congressional approval is silly. That's not the real problem. The real problem here is that we're striking Iran at all. What will the king of the idiots do next? I don't know. Are you talking about Donald Trump? I can't tell if this is like a hater coming in here to talk shit about me, or if it's like probably a hater coming here to talk shit about me instead of talking about Donald Trump. Who cares? Kamala is not president. The discourse is stupid. The discourse is only productive if people who genuinely have this anti-war position recognize that they need to apply pressure to their elected representatives to also make a big fuss about this and communicate their anger and resentment in the correct way. Either to do so from a cynical, cold, and calculated partisan way, or because they truly think it's abhorrent to engage in war like this. And separating yourself from Biden in this meaningful way would have actually yielded tremendous benefit. Even if you didn't care about the morality of the situation, you should have at the very least communicated that you were interested in peace, specifically to win the fucking election. The Democrats, Kamala Harris's campaign, couldn't even get themselves to do that. I don't understand why. Do you think her going on Joe Rogan would have helped? I mean, there's so many things that she could have done that could have been helpful, but that's besides the point. And I think that American foreign policy being uniparty in this process, considering that every Democrat, like most of the Democrats, all of the high-level Democrats, most of the Democrats and the entire Republican Party is always going to entertain going to war with Iran, as they have for decades at this point, with the only time where like negotiations and diplomacy was the most effective outcome, ironically, under the Barack Obama administration. It is clear to me that this has turned into a belligerent campaign that is either today or tomorrow, or maybe a couple years down the line, depending on how this situation escalates or de-escalates. The final goal is still clear: complete destabilization, regime change, and if not regime change, just creating a failed state. As a Trump supporter, I want to say that I'm shocked that he hit first. I'm currently trying to be more informed on other viewpoints. What do you think will be the outcome of these attacks on a non-biased viewpoint? I mean, if the goal is regime change, like I said, and I think it is, then this de-escalation, this like incredibly limited retaliation where Iran has to save face as a sovereign nation, and it has to like do a symbolic strike against American assets. If Trump uses that as a reason to say, oh, we're going to war with Iran, they hit our boys, this is fucking unacceptable. If they use that as an opportunity, then yeah, we're going to a fucking extended, long, drawn out conflict with a nation of 92 million people that is a natural fortress that makes it incredibly difficult to do boots on the ground warfare. It's either going to look like Syria, or it's going to look like Libya, or it's going to look like Iraq.